Alrighty, so basically today I figured I'd give you a rig rundown. You usually see these a little more professionally, but personally, a lot of people always get curious about what it is that you use and everything, and just to see if they're much different than you. Normally finding the commonalities actually helps a lot of people progress in music, but for me, I kind of like talking about the girls of my life, which I've so affectionately called my guitars and nonetheless. And I'm sorry for any background noise, but essentially, it's a great movie. A lot of people get it misconstrued. It is about Ip Man, but more specifically, it's about a person that Ip Man essentially got to spar once with, and then World War II broke out, and never got a chance again to fucking fight. But not necessarily fight, but it's like exchange teaching principles. It's like with martial arts, it's a whole fucking respect issue. He thought the style was very beautiful. He was kind of angry that it died. And if you watch the movie Grandmaster, it explains why it died and how it died. So sorry for the background noise. It's actually about to get to the pinnacle fight scene. Perfect timing. But anyways, Ip Man, a Libra. I love anyone in the Air Kingdom, Aquarius myself. So whether you're Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, I always got to give it up to you guys for the voice of reason, it seems like sometimes in the world. But I think to start off, I'm going to show you guys retro. And here she is. Here's my guitar retro, my acoustic electric. A funny story about actually how I found this old girl, but as far as I could tell, she is a Kinston acoustic electric, currently playing on Elixir Polywebs. Usually I play between 11 and 12 gauges. I'm nothing too crazy. I've used 13s. It's not particularly something I care too much about when it comes to an acoustic gauge because, once they're acoustic strings, they usually are a heavy gauge, or what I call the AC/DC gauge, 12s and ups, whether they be 13s, 14s, whatever. And if you don't know anything about the whole, terminology behind using thick strings to create a fuller rocker tone, like Malcolm and Angus Young did, then you can go find millions of other YouTube videos to figure that out. But I call it retro. I always see it as a blast for the past because essentially all of it is original parts. I mean, it's a simple 1/4 in, nothing too crazy. You got a tone and volume knob. This weird retro ass, I called it a 70s pickguard, but when I was looking this up, apparently they only made these between 1982 and 1987, and I just called it an 83, I don't know, to be cool, since technically there's not really a way to figure out what it is. Essentially, there's no VIN number really. I'm going to use my headlamp here to try to show you. Even in here, there's really no making of technically what this is essentially, but it's a beautiful guitar. Has that classic normal Japanese Chinese plastic pickups here. I have not had a chance to rewire it. The pickup works fine, but I am tempted to rewire it though, because last time I took this apart just to see how it worked and, clean it up, the copper wires are turning into a green fabric lint. And so basically making it, at some point, it's just going to deteriorate in the dust. So I will have to upgrade it. But I do have the wires that I'm going to use for that. Also in the video, you're going to notice this ugly pillow. And you can make fun of it all you want, but I got that pillow during Harvey when it hit us here in Houston when I was volunteering at the NRG. So, I lived a block away from the NRG when Harvey hit. I was basically what they called, the island of Houston and stuff, when the waters were like 10 feet from completely submerging all of downtown Houston. And I was on that one little bit on Hamilton Street by NRG that didn't go underwater, so I spent all my days volunteering, helping all those come out of 5th Ward and Katy. It's like I spent one night making like 1,000 beds and shit, but it's crazy. But as you can tell, pretty cool. Not really simple construction because they put a lot of detail into it, as you can tell. I've done pretty good when I found it. I found this guitar sitting in a pawn shop, and weirdly, I wasn't trying to buy it. A friend of mine told me, if you find a cheap acoustic, I want to buy a second acoustic guitar, and so, show me one. I found this guy. It was marked down from $50 for like $70-$80. I told my friend about it. He went and bought it and gave it to me. So that's how retro came into my life. And, retro got the name just because I figured it'd be a guitar, that Kurt Cobain himself would use. So, it kind of has that look about him. He apparently liked these weird, cheapy overseas guitars and stuff like that just because they had different sounds than everyone else was using. But it's cool stuff, though. But typically for retro, I keep it in tunings between B, like B as in boy, and E. Right now I believe it's at a half step down because I've been doing the videos, so I haven't had a chance to really throw it in the B, which is weird because Simple Song is in the key of B, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna drop it down the B or A sharp just to play it. I might actually let Glory over there, which is my blue Strat, actually do Simple Song for the recording for you guys, but it's a pretty straight guitar, nothing too crazy about it. I'll flip it over here for you real quick. So far, pretty good condition. It's held out, nothing too wild or crazy. You can check out these really old school fucking tuners that are still holding on. Now the A, for anyone's curiosity, you gotta be Popeye the Sailor Man to turn that one out. I've oiled that thing and still just no love. There's a little damage to the neck you might be able to see technically, but nothing that's really affected the guitar in a sense. But as you can tell, you might be able to tell. Oh yeah, I see it. You got the two big scratches right there. I think I got that from a Metro bus one day, riding around on it before I got it a case. And then of course you can kind of see this, middle line here coming across, but overall, retro is pretty beautiful. I wouldn't call it a full dreadnought, maybe a dreadnought light, but it definitely isn't a baby, not like a student or trainer guitar or anything like that. But it's a pretty beautiful guitar. I enjoy it a lot. The only thing I've been working on mainly, besides trying to rewire it at the moment, is fixing the bridge. As you can see, I don't even have a nut on it. And it was suffering from that pullback shit that happens on acoustics where you have to do the steam treatment to fix it. Simply, I just took out the nut, let that become an all-in-one bridge, and then I've been using it ever since. And like I said, I mainly use it for lower tunings like B and C and A sharp and stuff like that. Just simply, I mainly use this for lower tunings. I don't go higher than E on it. I don't really like to try to stress too much of that. But since the steam treatment has pretty much fixed most of the bend, so I'm trying to showcase here, really, it's just all about trying to make it all work. But for the most part, it's pretty straight. You can kind of see the evidence of the pull on the bridge there. But, as I'm trying to focus. But as you see, the bordering here is pretty cool. Like I said, it's just overall, it's one of those weird guitars that was just overlooked. And when I found it in the pawn shop, it only had 4 strings on it. I just thought it was beautiful, and I was like, man, for like $50, it's cool. Little did I know my friend was going to buy it and give it to me. But he did. But it's been pretty cool since I've been rebuilding my collection after I lost all my $40,000 worth of gear. But, hell, it's called a come up for a reason, right? But overall, like I said, I'm calling it a 1983 Kinston Acoustic Electric. And yes, it does have the copyright infringement headstock, but apparently what I've been able to find out is that apparently Fender was involved somewhere in making money in this thing, so it was quite easy for them to allow this because they were making money off it. So that's what information I've been able to find. If you know more about this guitar, please let me know, since information, after 1972 on most of these companies is kind of hard to find. Even before 1972 is hard to find. But absolutely love this guitar. It's a real joy. But yeah, this is my guitar that I affectionately call a retro. So enjoy.